subscribe to my YouTube link in bio. But yeah, shoot shoot some questions at me. What do you got? If not, I can start just talking about travel. Really? All these people join. None of you have a single question about traveling so far. Okay. Well, then I'll just talk about where I'm at right now. I'm in Seoul, South Korea. Um, first trip for a single guy. First trip for a single guy. I would say Vietnam, honestly. Um, I think Vietnam is probably the best solo trip location. So Vietnam right now is like really high up on my list of like top travel locations in the world. I would say probably is my favorite. Any closer? Yeah, I mean Costa Rica probably. Oh, USA. I mean, I just talk about international travel, man. I haven't been in the USA for 3 years now, so you know I have no idea. Um, South Carolina maybe could be a good place. New Orleans, Vegas, something like that. Oh, closer to the USA. Yeah, Costa Rica, I would say. Um, Costa Rica has a lot of the same things that like a place like Medellin or Rio has. The benefit of Costa Rica is that it's it's a lot more like I always think of it in terms of um like bumpers of like you know like when you go bowling, you have those like bumpers on the side. I always think of that when it comes to traveling, and Costa Rica has a lot of those bumpers. So as a single guy, you should be fairly safe in Costa Rica. Um, Belize, I haven't been to Belize yet. Um, let's see. What about Central Asia, dude? It kills me. Central Asia is really like right now. Central Asia is probably on the top of my list of places I want to travel to, but I'm probably not going to be able to make a trip there for at least another year, and I'm afraid that by then it'll probably end up being like, really overrun and stuff. But yeah, I really want to go to Almaty in Kazakhstan. I really want to go to Uzbekistan. Even like, I mean, Georgia's technically Europe, but even Georgia. I was supposed to go to Georgia in June, but it ended up not happening. That's a very sore subject for me. So, um, all that to say, Central Asia is a place I recommend because I really want to go there, but I haven't been there myself. What about Belize? I haven't been to Belize, Ben. Great job. Is Nam okay with Americans visiting or living there, considering their war and all? Um, this is something I think this is actually an interesting topic, so I appreciate you asking that. Like Americans, like Americans have this conception of places in the world as if they're like out of like history books. You know what I mean? Like we think of other countries as like these abstract concepts, right? So like what we know about Vietnam is the war and stuff. So we assume that they're still fighting the war. And by the way, there is like communist, hammers and sickles all over the place. So there is that. It is still very much. I mean, it's a capitalist country, but it still calls itself communist. So like that's important to them. But like in terms of like being angry about the war, like no, they're not. There's no anger about the war whatsoever. They love Americans there. They love American tourists there. They love the fact that you're spending money there. So yeah, 100%. There's no animosity. It would be kind of like if someone asked you like, do you like have any animosity towards the British because of like the war for independence? You're like that was a long time ago. Um, Let me see. Um, Thoughts on Montevideo? I haven't spent a lot of time there, so I don't really have like that extensive thoughts. It's kind of like the most expensive, but also like the whitest part of Latin America. So do with that information what you will. I always kind of think of Montevideo as the place that people go to if they're like afraid of going to the rest of Latin America. You know what I mean? Like you want to go to Latin America, but you don't want to be around brown people. You go to Montevideo. That's kind of my thoughts about Montevideo. But I don't really, and that's kind of the general vibes that you get when you talk about Montevideo with other people in Latin America. I don't have any like concrete information about it. By the way, so we have 40 people in this live right now. So the reason why I'm doing these lives, and by the way, somebody got bitched at by me yesterday because he was like, stop plugging this stuff. I'm gonna be plugging this stuff this entire live because literally the only reason why I'm doing this live is because I want to get my YouTube channel to 100 subscribers. Right now we're at 77. There are 39 people in this live. I know that all 39 of you did not subscribe to my YouTube channel. I know that. That's a fact, right? So if there's at least 23 of you that did not subscribe to my YouTube channel, we all know this. Don't lie. So if you could just, it'll take 30 seconds. I promise you're not going to miss any important information when you do. Hello? I promise you're not going to miss any important information when you do, but please just exit out for a quick second, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then come back. I'm trying to get to 100 subscriptions by the end of the day today. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscriptions by the end of the week. So I'm trying to monetize my other channels. I'm trying to turn this into a full-time job so that I can spend more of my time delivering content for you guys. So this is only going to benefit you by you subscribing to the YouTube channel. So please jump off for a quick second, click on my thing over here, go to the link in my bio, click on the YouTube channel, click subscribe, and then come back. Anyway, Bangkok versus Ho Chi Minh. I think Bangkok is a better like first city for an American. It's like Bangkok is kind of similar to Costa Rica in that regard, where it's like very much tailored to be as easy as possible for first time travelers to go there. That being said, at the same time, like I just like I just think that Bangkok is overrun by Americans, overrun by Europeans at this point. It is so much you know, like a colony of the West that you don't really get that much of like authentic experience. I mean, you do get like an authentic Thai experience, but Thailand in general right now is a place where like you go and there's a higher percentage of Europeans in Thailand than there are in Europe as of this moment. Like maybe that's not statistically true, but it's true of like walking around Thailand. So for me personally, I really like the thing that I love when traveling. I hate hearing people speak English when I travel. Like I love just going to a place and being the only white person there and just being lost in a sea of foreign people. And you're not getting that in Bangkok. Everything, if you're a person who wants to just, go to like a nightclub, but just in a different country, that's Bangkok. Ho Chi Minh is still more of like that. You'll get lost in the country. Let's see. Um, my ancestors are from Northern Ireland. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I kept dropping out. That's true. Hopefully everything is good right now. Tell me about best places in Canada to travel. Nowhere. Nowhere in Canada is the best place to travel. Like leaving Canada is the best. The best place to travel in Canada is the airport. Oh, we just got 3 subscribers. We're at 80. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Let's see if in the next 15 minutes we can get to 90. So it's 1 a.m. right now. I'm in Seoul, South Korea. Let's see if by 1:15 we can get to 90 subscribers. Anyway, I plan on going to Peru to visit Lima, Ica, Cusco, and Iquitos. Do you have any thoughts on this? Yeah, I mean, so look, how should I say this? Like, I that's a perfectly fine itinerary, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you're able to do everything perfectly well. You're gonna have a great time. For me, like, I'm not really like a what's it called? Like a sightseer, if that makes sense. Like that's not something that I find that interesting in traveling, just because like when you go to enough old buildings, they all kind of seem the same at a certain point. Like the whole experience of going to an old building is really just the same everywhere you go. And you notice about museums also, like like it's funny because like every museum is supposed to be about like the natural history of that place, but every museum seems it feels exactly the same. If I were to take a video of me walking through like a a natural history museum in any country, I don't think you can tell what country it's in, right? They're very interchangeable. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of these like historic sites. It's like you're gonna see some rocks that are put together in a specific place. You're gonna buy a t-shirt that says I was there, and then you're gonna go home, right? Then you're gonna show your friends, like, oh, this is the rocks, right? But like you don't I just don't feel like you get like a really authentic, great experience from that. That being said, if you only have like a week to travel, like it makes sense to do that. What I would say is kind of important is like go experience and go really enjoy Lima. Lima is one of my favorite cities on planet Earth. I love Lima. So, um, any questions you have here? We're also going to be doing answering some YouTube questions as well. So, anyway, um, in your opinion, do you need to be tall to get girls? Not if you go to Latin America. I like SSBBW. Where should I go? I don't know what SSBBW is. Okay, this guy just kept on answering the same question. How do you spot dangerous areas? That's like that. That's an interesting question. So, I mean, the easiest way, obviously, is like poor areas. You know what I mean? Like poor areas are usually a lot more dangerous than rich areas. That being said, you don't want to go into an area that's too rich, if that makes sense, because areas that are really rich are targets for thieves. When my phone got stolen in Sao Paulo, I literally got stolen outside of a Michelin star restaurant in Sao Paulo. So, you're not guaranteed safety by just being in a wealthy area, but typically the nicer areas are more safe. Um, that's one reason, if you're scared, I don't want to say scared, if you're concerned about safety, because I don't make it seem like you're like a scaredy pants or whatever. I think it's a legitimate concern to have. I would generally recommend going to Asia over Latin America. Um, Asia is so much more secure. Just like culturally, they don't steal from people versus like culturally, like even the biggest miscreants in Asia don't like pickpocket, right? Versus like in Latin America, even the best people will like snatch money from people. So it's very different culturally. And so I would, if you're concerned about safety, definitely go to East Asia. People in Susion is very conservative. Finally, why are you asking this? I hate when people ask the same question like 1,000 times. Um, anyway, is it true Asuncion is very conservative? Yeah, it's a little bit more conservative. Um, Whenever you go into the smaller cities and stuff, it's gonna start getting a little bit more conservative. It's definitely more conservative than like Medellin or Rio, right? It's all relative, I guess, right? It's more conservative than Rio. It's less conservative than like some like really really some places really really dap down in the boonies. Um, did you even read the comment? I asked you what SSBBW is. Oh, thanks, man. So like people don't get this. Like I have like 50 comments that I have to like catch up on, right? And like I'm reading all of them, but I'm talking for like 4 or 5 minutes about each of them. So I have a huge backlog. So that's why you don't get. I'm in Saigon right now. I've been in Vietnam for 3 months, dude. I am so jealous of you. I'm not even being sarcastic. Saigon is one of my favorite cities in the world. Asia in general is supersized, beautiful women. Oh, okay. Um, what are my thoughts on Manila? I made a video about Philippines, like that was a little controversial. And basically, like I don't like the Philippines. really. A lot of people do. I don't. I think it's really a question of like, what's important to you. For me, like the Philippines is like one of the slowest places you'll ever go to. Like it is so slow. People are just I don't say it's not even incompetence, it's just they don't care about doing things well, right? Like internet always goes out, there's always blackouts. Everything is just done so poorly that people do not care about the quality of everything of anything. And so it really kind of wears on you after a while being in the Philippines of just like nobody giving a shit. And again, like there are people who don't care about that. For me, like quality, I don't care about like things being expensive because I think that a lot of the cheaper stuff actually have a lot of really great quality and really, a lot of good care to it. But um in Manila, man, they just don't give any shits whatsoever, and so it's really tough. So that's my feel about the Philippines. There are a lot of people, by the way, who love the Philippines, who just don't care about that. Or like, look, I want to live in a laid back culture where people don't care. I don't get hassled, and those people love the Philippines, and so like I'm happy for them. There are only a few places in the world that I objectively hate. That I would say nobody has a good argument for it being good. Those places are India, San Jose, Costa Rica, just that city, San Jose, Costa Rica, and that's pretty much it of my and Frankfurt, Germany. Those are like my 3 places that are on my shit list. But everywhere else, I think it's just like a measure of like taking the good with the bad and figuring out what's important to you. By the way, another plug right now, we're at 82 subscribers. Said I want to get to 90 subscribers by 1:15 a.m. We have 36 people on this live right now. I'm sure that we have 8 people on this live who have not subscribed yet. I'm positive of it. There are 8 people here who have not subscribed. I'm positive there are at least 3 to 5 people whose questions I answered on this live, meaning I gave you free travel advice for free, right? And I didn't get anything from it. So what I'm asking for you to do is for those 8 people, or maybe more than 8 people, to just click on this above, go to my page, go to the link in my bio, click subscribe, and then come back to the live. It'll take you 30 seconds, and it's a huge big deal for me. Again, this is the only reason why I'm doing this live is to get to 100 subscribers by the end of this live. So please, it's 108. We have 7 minutes left to get to 90 subscribers. If we keep on missing these goals for the goals that I'm setting for the subscribers, I might just jump off because at that point, if no one's subscribing, this makes no sense for me to be here. It's the only reason why I'm here answering these questions. So please, we have 8 people left. Let's get some people to click subscribe to the YouTube page. I want to visit a country on tell that to the guy who took your $100. That's true. I want to visit a country on each. I think the reason why the video failed. People don't know. I made a video about. I wanted to do a test to see if you can leave $100 in the middle of a crowded street in Korea for an hour, and if no one would take it. Spoiler: people took it, but I made a video about it, and I was like, look, yeah, I lost $100, but I'm gonna make the $100 back on this video. And the video just failed. But my theory about that Colombian Odyssey is that it failed because, like, in the past 7 days, my videos have just not been doing well whatsoever. So I think there was that. And then once my videos start picking up steam again, then I'm gonna re-release that video. But I want to visit a country in each continent. Which 6 would you recommend? So, North America, I would recommend. Okay, so I'll give like a new traveler and a seasoned traveler pick for each one. In North America, if you're a new traveler, I'd pick Costa Rica. If you're a seasoned traveler, I'd pick Mexico, a smaller city like Oaxaca, Guadalajara, something like that, right? Like one of those types of cities. South America, if it's your first time traveling, um, I would go to Rio de Janeiro. I think Rio de Janeiro. I have a list of like 5 cities I think everyone should see at least once in their life. Rio de Janeiro is the top of that list. If you've already been to Rio, then what I recommend is A second tier Argentinian cities, so somewhere like Cordoba, Mendoza, Bariloche, El Calatafe, one of those types of places. If you're going to Africa, I don't have a lot of experience with Africa, so I would just say Marrakesh in Morocco is my top place in Africa because it's the only place I've been in Africa. But Marrakesh is also one of my top places in the entire world, so I highly recommend it. If you're going to Europe, again, I have the list of top 5 cities, so on that list is Paris. I think everyone should visit Paris once. There's a lot of anti-Paris propaganda on the internet, and, like, I believed it for a long time. Maybe this is why I'm going so hard in, like, my pro Paris thing is because I spent, like, 4 days in Paris, and it was lovely. We had an incredible time. Paris is a lovely city. All of the problems that people are talking about is completely overblown, and it is also incredibly cheap as well, relatively speaking, like for Paris, right? If you go to Asia, I would go to Vietnam. Yeah, well, what up, Homer? How's it going? Um, this is my dude over here. And then yeah, so I gave you Europe, Africa, North America. Yes, I gave you each one. And then if you go to Oceania, probably go to Bali. Let's see. Um, yeah, King. What's your question? Let it know to the chat. Yo, um, owner. If you, by the way, if anyone joins the live on my YouTube, I'm gonna be giving priority to those people. So if you want to, if you have a question that you really want answered, that's really important to you, then you know join the YouTube live because you're getting priority there. Is Vitali ever getting out? Oh, review diver says I subscribe to YouTube. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. What number are we at right now? We're at 85. I'm happy with 85 at 115. So the question about Vitali ever getting out, I don't really know a lot of the specifics of the case, but my general feeling, man, is like I do not have any patience for people who go overseas and act disrespectfully. And that's not to say that like if you go overseas you can't like drink or anything or you can't party. There are specific areas that um there's specific areas that are like, meant for you to party, right? Like Koh Phi Phi in Thailand, right? But like if you are being disruptive and you're being disrespectful to the local people, I think you should go to jail. And I will cheer you on. I will cheer them on, the authorities on as they throw you in jail, especially in Asia. These are some of the nicest, most conscientious, beautiful people on planet Earth. And if you're going to come over here and be disrespectful to them, I wanted to throw the fucking book at you, right? And look, I'm not saying like so. For example, like if an American goes to Singapore and like accidentally spits on the street, not knowing that it's against the law, and they get like 30 years in prison or something, like obviously I'm gonna have sympathy for that person because like you're not being. I don't think you're being really that disrespectful. I'm talking about people who go specifically to disrespect Asian countries, throw the book at you, go to prison for the rest of your fucking life. Fuck you, is my feeling towards that people. So I hope Vitaly never goes out, and I hope that it teaches a lesson to all the smaller, content creators who go to Asia to act like a fucking asshole to these incredibly nice people. Like treating Asians this way is like is the equivalent. And I'm sure these are the people who've done this too. Is like if there's a kid in high school who's like, hey, like you guys can like come over and like, play video games in my house. And then people go over and just trash the house. You know what I mean? It's just like this guy invited you to his house and you acted a fool, you broke shit. No, go to fucking jail. I hope that you do. Um, I feel now all the good places are filled with all people wanting to live abroad. Yes and no. I mean, there are a lot of like great places that are not filled with people. You just have to find what those places are. One of the ways to find out what those places are is to click follow and then also subscribe to my YouTube. It's another plug right there. Um, let me see. I haven't been to Honduras. Let me see. Love your videos, bro. Thanks. Sí hablo español. I spent, thanks, Aiden. Aiden subscribed yesterday. I appreciate that. Why do you hate Frankfurt? I've only spent a few days in Frankfurt. So first of all, I just hate Germany. Germany is a very much of like a rule following culture that I just don't jive with. I'm kind of like an American cowboy who likes to break the rules. That's why I like that's why I like Latin America so much. But the problem that I have with Frankfurt is that, like, look, I'm willing to accept you having draconian rules on me if I'm gonna go experience German culture. But like Frankfurt's not even German culture. The entire city is overrun with Turkish people. So you're not even experiencing Germany in Frankfurt. You're experiencing Turkey. And you're experiencing a more expensive Turkey with crazy German rules as well. It's like the worst of every single world. Like it sucks. Um just subscribed. YouTube take at the same time. Thoughts on Eastern Europe. Um, Soul advice. I don't really have that much advice in Soul. My advice for Seoul is to go to Japan instead. The only reason why we're in Korea right now and not in Japan is because my wife is Venezuelan and she needs a visa to go to Japan. But I think Japan is way better than Korea in my opinion. I'm not going to yell that too loudly because I'm in Korea right now. Let's see. Let me see. Um, Sorry, I just went to the bottom so I can like scroll. Um, so if you don't go to nightclub or museums, what does your day look like? So like when I was traveling as a single person, I would definitely go to clubs. I'm just saying that like it's 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 the club scene in Bangkok is indistinguishable than it is from like Las Vegas or like San Francisco or Los Angeles, right? Like all these types of places are kind of the same, at a certain level, you know what I mean? And so if you're looking for like a nice like cultural experience, you're not really gonna get that there. But I really enjoy just exploring cities, talking to locals, trying new restaurants. Like I like doing the everyday things that a person would be doing in that city. I mean, and like going out to nightclubs is part of that, right? I'm married right now, so like we're not really like clubbers, but um, I'm interested in Morocco, but they're Muslims. Yeah, so, you know, they're not really, you know, that strict in Morocco in terms of being Muslim. For someone that hasn't left their country, what country would you recommend? Costa Rica. Do you ever get weirded out with Latino men insulting your Latino wife? It happens to me. Um, no, it's never happened to me. Although you have to say that, like, I constantly get like weirdos who are like, "Show us your wife," wife reveal, that type of stuff. I actually showed my wife on my stream this morning. She made a cameo, but I never show her on TikTok because people, this is like a cesspool of like the most like so many deranged people who just come to just try to like insult you. So I feel bad for them. Jesus says love your enemy. So I feel bad for them. I pity them, but I just don't want to subject her that to that type of abuse. Are Brazilian women the best? No, they're not, but they all think they are. Um, they all think they are. What's my thoughts on Lima, Peru? Um, I love Lima, Peru. Lima, like if I were to recommend like my top 3 to 5 places to go live abroad long term, Lima, Peru would be very high on that list. Could even be number one as like a place to like live abroad. I haven't been there in like a year and a half though, so you have to take this with a grain of salt. But like very cheap, very pretty on like a day to day basis. The actual sites are not that nice. Like the beach sucks, all that type of stuff sucks. But if you're living abroad there, it is an amazing place. They have incredible salmon that's very cheap. Peru is one of the best food countries in the entire world. So highly recommend Lima, Peru. Um, yeah, everything just makes sense. They're very reasonable in Peru. Hunko, love your channel, bro. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. Espirito Santos is it a big city? Um, I travel so much. I got the TTP card to Japan. Man, I one of my goals in the next few years is to do like a 3 month trip through Japan. That's what I really want to do. But again, my wife's visa is a problem, and we're also planning on having kids next year, so complicates things. But hopefully, we'll be able to go through Japan. Have I been to Espírito Santo? So Espírito Santo is not a city; it's a region in Brazil. It's right north of Rio de Janeiro. I have been to Espírito Santos. I've actually made a bunch of videos about Espírito Santos. It's one of my favorite areas in Brazil. I stayed for about a month and a half in Vila Velha, also known as Victoria. It's basically it's kind of like Minneapolis, St. Paul type thing, where it's just like I don't know where the border is between one or the other. Most people don't. It's like two of the they're the same city basically. But I think of Vila Velha as kind of Rio de Janeiro, but with none of the bullshit. So it's amazing. All right, we're gonna stop this for a quick second. We're gonna do another plug. So we're at 88 subscribers right now. We need two more in order to be able to get to 90. So can we get two more subscribers? There are 35 people watching this. I know a lot of you have subscribed, and I really appreciate all of you guys subscribing. I really do appreciate it. But can we get two more of these people who are on this live right now to subscribe to the YouTube? Again, go to my bio, go to the link in my bio, click on the YouTube, and click subscribe, and you'll be able to. Yo, thanks for the music bubble, bro. And then just click subscribe and then jump back in. One thing about my YouTube, and again, I'm sorry to do the whole plug, but that's literally the reason why I'm doing this. So the reason why I'm doing my YouTube is I'm going to start doing much more long form, in depth, deep dives there. So one of the problems with my channel is that like I'll like make videos, and then like a month later, people are asking me questions about those videos, and I'm like, I don't want to make the same video over and over again, right? But I also like can't really do deep dives in my videos on TikTok because of just how the platform functions, right? So what I'm going to start doing, I put out a deep dive on Bali yesterday. I'm going to be putting out a deep dive on Rio de Janeiro tomorrow, where it's basically like, if you want to go to Rio for a week, here is your itinerary. Here's exactly what you do. So I'm going to putting that out tomorrow, right? And I'm going to putting out content like that of like 10, 15 minutes where I really do huge deep dives on these places. And then on top of that, most of my lives going forward, starting in like a month or two, are going to be on my YouTube. And the reason for that is because on my YouTube, I'm able to share my screen, and I can't share my screen here. Right. And that's a huge limiting factor in terms of giving out information. So, like 2 days ago on my live, people were asking me questions about Bogota. And instead of just like talking about Bogota, I literally just pulled up a map of Bogota, and I pulled up Google Maps. I was like, this is the area that you want to stay. Right. Like I literally pulled up an Airbnb, and I was like, this is the Airbnb that you want to stay at. Right. And I think that's much more helpful than just a vague, yeah, Bogota's dope type thing. Right. So that's what that is the reason for the YouTube push, is because I think it will get you guys better content. So again, we're at 88 right now. Oh, we're at 91. Awesome. We can end the fucking pitch, and we can go back to answering questions. Anyway, let me see. Awesome. You subscribed. Greetings from Denang. Let me see this. Bro, do it. 3 months plus JR Pass, you explore all of Japan. Dude, I can't now because my wife can't go to, Japan. But if like the number one trip that I would recommend is a 3 month trip to Japan. Um Truth. Has Peru a decent nightlife? Yeah, it's fine. They have this one area. Again, if we were on my YouTube live, I'll be able to pull it up right now. It's kind of like northeast or northwest of Miraflores, and it's like full of bars, full of all that type of stuff. How do I find housing in other countries? This is a question from the YouTube. As I said, if people can jump to the YouTube live, I'm going to be prioritizing those questions. So if you have a question that's like a dying question that you want answered, as long as you are subscribed, obviously, um, the way that I find housing is Airbnbs. Um, I think Airbnb makes so much more sense than everything else because first of all, you can get a pretty steep discount for staying 30 days. Um, and then two, like a lot of people will try to find housing in these areas. Only find housing if you're already staying there and you can inspect the property because otherwise, you know, you'll get scammed. So that's my answer to go. Oh wow, easiest country for tall white guys who don't speak Spanish. Southeast Asian girls. Probably Paraguay. Colombia would be another great one for you, and then anywhere in Mexico. You're gonna clean up. I would go to southern Mexico though. Don't go to the north because you're gonna be competing with a bunch of other tall white guys. If you want to go somewhere where you're gonna be like the only one of you, probably want to go to northeastern Brazil. That's a very mixed population. Again, go to like a smaller town in Colombia or go to Asuncion, Paraguay. Any off the radar countries you'd recommend? I don't know how off the radar is, but like Morocco is one of my favorite countries in the world, and people don't talk about Morocco that much. I would honestly personally talk about Morocco a whole lot more. The problem is that like the algorithm the algorithm rewards you for talking about countries that everyone else talks about. And so if no one's talking about a country, I get no reward for talking about that country. Like it doesn't get pushed to anybody, right? By the way, not to do another plug, but it's another reason why you should subscribe to my YouTube because YouTube's recommendation algorithm is based much more on how many people are following you than on what topics people are talking about. I'll be able to make videos on more of like the under the radar countries because right now you can't make videos about under the radar countries. Like if I was to make a video about Laos. I mean, I made a video about Laos. Nobody saw it because nobody's searching for Laos, right? So that's another reason to follow me on YouTube. How did you find the balance between staying somewhere too nice and a place where locals hang out? I mean, there are locals in nice places. You know what I mean? I think people have this like conception of the rest of the world where everyone else is like really, really like, oh, easiest countries for brown guys. You probably want to go to like Eastern Europe. Those are the girls that fetishize brown guys typically. Um, but yeah, there are rich locals, you know what I mean? And like you can hang out with those locals, especially like let's say you want to go to like Latin America and you don't speak fluent Spanish, like you're not hanging out with the locals, the local restaurants and local bars anyway, because you can't talk to those people, right? So you're gonna want to go to, um the nice areas anyway, because those are the people who actually speak English. Um, Let me see. Greetings from Da Nang. Da Nang is one of my favorite places on earth. So, you know, stayed in Bali for a month, left after 2 weeks. I actually got sick in Bali also my first time going. I think Bali's nice. It's not like it's not like a real like roughing it travel place though. You know what I mean? Like, and loved in Prague. Let me see. Oh yeah, awesome. Thanks for sending the live stuff. Um, a lot of people are answering more questions than. Would you rather stay in 12 different places over a year or four places or one? For me, I'd rather stay in 12 different places. I mean, again, it obviously depends on like a lot of like personal stuff, but I think 12 different places is better. One because like you can just explore more. Like after this is kind of a problem I have, right? Is like there will be people who like, go to Bangkok and then just stay in Bangkok for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm living abroad." And it's just like you literally just went to one city, bro, and you didn't go anywhere else, right? I mean, I don't have like a problem with that, like morally or whatever. I'm just like, go see a little bit of the more of the world. So if you're somebody who's planning on living abroad, I mean, that's what I did, so that's why I'm recommending it, I guess, but, like, I spent a year going to 13, 14 different countries, right, exploring, experimenting, finding out what I liked, and at the end of the 13 months, I was like, "You know what? I like Latin America." I moved back to Latin America, right, and then right now, me and my wife are doing some traveling, because we want to find out where we want to settle down as a family and like raise our kids and stuff, right? So, we were going to a bunch of different countries and checking a bunch of different stuff out, right? You One thing you realize like when you start traveling more is that like you can't conceptualize a place really until you've been there. Like I can describe a lot of places to you and like probably be accurate to a degree or to one degree or another. I've done that before, and people have been like, "Yeah, I know you completely guessed this place, right?" But like, you can't really understand what it's like in your head until you actually go there. Um, that's something that I believe very strongly, and it's even difficult if you if you've been to everywhere around that place, but not to that place, you'll still get that place wrong. You know what I mean? Like me and my wife were going to so we were living in Asuncion for 7 months, and then we went to Ciudad de Este in Paraguay. And like we had a conception of what Ciudad de Este was like, and then we went to Ciudad de Este, and it was nothing like that whatsoever. It actually fucking sucked. So, again, so I said like you should go to as many countries as you can. Uh, oh, awesome. Brazilian hero, love your content. I appreciate that. One thing I always get nervous about, and this is just me just being like a very like anxious person, I guess, is like I'll make content about Brazil, right? And like I'm making jokes, right? Like I'm not trying to shit on Brazil. I'm just like, you know, telling the truth, trying to be funny, try to tell it how it is. And I'll have a huge amount of like white people get mad at me, white people from America, and then I'll even get some Brazilians from America who are mad at me, and then like I'll be like, fuck man, like did I piss off Brazil? I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to like say what's up, right? And then Brazilians will come at me and be like, bro, like 100% true. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So anyway, so all that to say, I appreciate you approving on that, because I'm really I don't even say I'm talking shit. I just say I'm making jokes about like Brazil or Argentina or Colombia. Like I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. You know what I mean? I'm just try to be honest in a funny way. So where do you live in Brazil, by the way? Um, so I actually do have a consultation service. So if you want, you can reach out to me in the same link tree in the bio. Yeah, reading 100 books in India won't make you understand India like traveling there. Look, I don't want to get on an India rant because I always get in trouble when I talk about India, but um, the more that I know about India, the less that I like it. Like literally, when I was just reading books about India, I was like, "This is the most magical place on earth." And then, like, you go there and you're just like, "This is a fucking shithole," and you realize that all the people who are like, you know, all the people who are writing about how much they love India are like either manipulating you or they're retarded. I shouldn't say that. Sorry, they're either manipulating you or they're just like not very intelligent. Yeah, India's the worst, man. What country are you leaning towards settling down? Yeah, I guess it's a personal question, but I can give you an answer. So right now we're leaning towards we're gonna stay in Poland for like 3 or 4 years. The reason for that is because we haven't given birth to like our kids yet, and so I have dual citizenship. I'm American and I'm Polish. My wife is Venezuelan, And to be honest, I'd much rather like us live in Argentina or Paraguay. But the problem with that is that like neither of us are from there. You know what I mean? And so like if we gave birth to a kid there, and then like 15 years later we like left, and like we left Argentina like 2 years later, and then we never came back. We had no relation to it. It would be weird for the kid to like say he was like born in like Mendoza, even though he has no connection to it. Or like, what if he needs like a birth certificate or something? Like, how is he going to get that? Right. So, yeah, we decided we're gonna give birth, at least to our first kids in Poland. So we're gonna go there for like 3 to 4 years. I still have like I made a list. I have like 24 countries in Europe that I haven't been to. So in terms of traveling for the next 2 or 3 years, I'm gonna be doing a lot of traveling through Europe to try to get to all those countries. And then, in 3 or 4 years, we're either gonna stay there or we're gonna go somewhere else so that I'm gonna start, covering more of my map. Yeah, I mean, it is a great passage to citizenship. It's just a question of like if we want that citizenship, I think is more of the question. Um, yeah, no, I mean, it is for us is more of a question of like, do we want to become Argentinian citizens than like if if like what the paperwork looks like. Although it is like you are right, one of the easier countries. So we're now down to 15 people. I don't know how many of you might have not followed me already, but of those people, I'm pretty sure there's at least like one or two of you that haven't subscribed to my YouTube yet. So can you please, if you're one of these 14 and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, can you please click on the link in the bio, go to my YouTube, click subscribe, and then, jump back in. Zach Schroeder, thoughts on Laos? Hmm, how should I say it? I if you were to think of countries in terms of difficulty levels, right? Like on a video game. Um, Thailand, Bali is beginner. Vietnam is like easy, I would say, right? Maybe Philippines is like moderate, something like that. I would say Laos is like an expert level country. And I don't even mean that in terms of like the difficulty of getting around or anything. It's nothing like that. It's pretty easy to get around. It's just more of just like if you haven't been to a lot of Asian countries, you will really regret your trip to Laos, I think. It is very Asian, if that makes sense. Um, and if you're not ready for that, you're just not, you're not gonna have a good time. I would put Laos on my like put on the back burner is what I'd say. Unless you've been to a lot of Asian countries before. Like if you've been to Thailand, if you've been to Vietnam, if you've been to Cambodia, if you've been to all these other places, then like definitely go to Laos. It's a good place to try out. I was only there for a week. Um, it's also surprisingly expensive, I would say. Laos is. Cambodia is a lot cheaper. I'd recommend going to like Phnom Penh before you go to Laos. Um, is short-term dating possible? Yeah, it's pretty easy for her. Where's the friendliest country you've been to? Like being from Europe, where should I go outside of Europe for safety and friendly people? I think the friendliest people will probably be the Philippines. Definitely not Puerto Rico. Um, yeah, in terms of like where you want to go for friendliness, you probably want to go to Thailand or the Philippines are probably your friendliest, and then Thailand is probably your safest. One thing to note about Thailand, and I think this is really funny, like that people don't understand this. I was like joking. So I have a friend who's been living in Thailand for like 6 years and like or like 4 years. He also has spent like 10 years in Asia, so he's not just like a Thailand boy. But we're talking about like how like Americans like love how like nice Thai people are, and we're just like we're both just like you know people in Thailand are nice to you because they want money from you. You know what I mean? Like that's why they're nice to you. They're not it's not like they genuinely like you. They're just trying to get money from you, and they're smarter about it than other nationalities who will like be a dick to you. Thai people know that that's not how you get money from people. Um, so yeah. Uh, Let me see. Um, hey, what's up, T? Yeah, dude. Yeah, Laos is surprisingly expensive. So I made a video about this yesterday. Is that like by the way, we're gonna check my subscriber number. We're at 95. Awesome. Two people. So it's 1:41 right now in 1:41 a.m. in Korea. By 1:50, can we get to 100? I just need 5 subscribers. So we have 22 people right now. I'm pretty sure we have at least 3 or 4 of you that haven't subscribed yet to my YouTube, right? So just click on the link in the bio, go to the YouTube, click subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. But it is literally the only reason why I'm doing this live right now is to get to 100 followers. And like if I can get to 100 followers, then I'm going to give you guys an extra half an hour longer than I want to. So please, 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 please click the link in the bio, click subscribe to the YouTube. Really trying to build out this YouTube page. I'm going to give the whole pitch again some other time, but I don't feel like it. Yeah, so I haven't been to any Asian countries. If Laos is expensive, disregard my question. Yeah, Laos is pretty expensive. The reason why is because like um countries that are very poor don't have like the infrastructure, like don't have the infrastructure built out yet for Americans, right? And so because of that, the only people in those countries that can afford that infrastructure are rich people, right? And like, look, people have this conception in America, and like it's one thing I really like want to disabuse of people of, where they think that like because America is richer than Laos, like every American is richer than every Laotian, right? Which obviously when I say it like that, you know that it's not true, but people like go around thinking that. But like there is a whole class of people in Laos that are way richer than you'll ever be in your entire life. Right. And the problem is that when you live in a country, yo, Tiernan Clark just subscribed, man. Thanks you. I really appreciate that, dude. We're getting to 100. We're gonna get to 100. But yeah, so you have this whole so you go to these countries like Laos, and you have a whole class of people that are richer than you'll ever be in your entire life. And if those are the only people that can afford some of the amenities that you as an American kind of need to survive, then you're going to be paying a lot of money for those amenities, right? And especially if you so, for example, if you have to live in an area full of rich people in order to get Wi-Fi, running water, reliable electricity, all of these types of things, then if you're going to a restaurant that's near your apartment, is going to be a restaurant in an area full of obscenely rich people. So those restaurants are going to be more expensive because of it. Now, Laos, I wouldn't say is like, Switzerland prices, right? But it's not Vietnam prices either. So you're probably going to be spending about $10 to $15 per person for lunch or dinner in Laos versus Vietnam, where you're spending like $3 or $4 because Vietnam just has that infrastructure built out. Um, oh, awesome! Thanks for subscribing, Ben. I appreciate it. Um, what has been the best cost of living city? Yeah. So Damush asked me, is there anywhere you've been that you feel is misrepresented, like for travel advisories or just public opinion in general? Yeah, people get mad at me about this, man, but like I have a thing here, man, where I just tell the truth how I see it. So I have to keep on banging this drum because it's just the truth. I talked about this earlier in the live, but like France, I think, is a very maligned country. I think Paris is very maligned. I think Paris was one of the best cities that I visited. Um, it's not like Latin America cheap by any means, or like especially not Asia cheap by any means, but it is cheap for what you are expecting. Me and my wife going out to dinner, the two of us, we would probably spend like, you know, wait, sorry, I need to like do some stuff to verify that I'm a human being on this live. So me and my wife would probably spend like, and this is like going balls to the wall, not even caring about money. We'd probably spend like $45 on dinner between the two of us, which is a very reasonable amount of money. And this is including wine and all that type of stuff in France. So I think that, and then people also like talk about like the Senegalese buskers. I think that they're a huge problem in Rome. I think that they're becoming a problem in Madrid, but in Paris, they're not a problem at all. So, you know, um, anyway, good cost of living cities in Latam. Um, so I don't really have any specific recommendations for Miraflores. I haven't been there in a long time, so I don't remember any specifics. So sorry about that. My feeling about the UK is I would never step foot on UK soil. It's a yeah. Honestly, I don't even want to talk about how much I hate the United Kingdom right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I really, I couldn't dislike a country more in the world right now than the United Kingdom. It would be very difficult. Very good cost of living cities right now in Latam. Peru, Miraflores in Peru is probably Miraflores is in Lima. That's probably the best cost of living city that I've been to in Latin America. It's very cheap. It's pristine. You walk around, the streets are clean, they're beautiful. And then you go to a supermarket and you can get. I know I harp on this a lot, but you can get like a salmon. I don't know, like a salmon for multiple meals for like $5 or $6. So Miraflores in Lima in Peru is like my best budget place. Um, Let me see. To remote friendly work near a pristine beach with good food. What's the cheapest city to remote friendly work near a pristine beach with good food? Um, Da Nang, Vietnam. The problem with Da Nang is that it's very you have to deal with the 12-hour time difference, right? Um, which sucks. The big issue that you have for, I always think about it this way, right? You have three things, right? Cheap, beautiful, and safe. In Latin America, you can only really have two of those three, right? So if you want, um, cheap and beautiful, it's going to be is going to be it's going to be dangerous, right? That's just facts, right? If you want cheap and safe, it's not going to be like beautiful. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like, like Rio de Janeiro. So like cheap and safe, for instance, is Asuncion, Paraguay. It's cheap, it's safe. It's not nobody's taking pictures of it and putting on Instagram, right? Most of the pristine beaches in Brazil are dangerous cities. Recife, Natal, all the types of places, Salvador, Rio de Janeiro. In the south, you have more type cities that, are a little safer. But the problem is, oh, that's awesome. So the problem is that, like, you know, they're a little more expensive in the south. One option in Brazil, I would say, is that city I was talking about earlier, which is Vila Velha in Espírito Santo, Brazil. All right, so we're at 149. We're at 98 subscribers. Let's see if we can get like one or two more. Anyway, let's see this. Have I visited Barcelona? No, I haven't. I haven't been to Barcelona actually. Um, uh, Thanks, T. T's always looking out for me, man. Sub to his YouTube channel. We just need two more people to get to 100. Um, I'm not pressing the issue right now because right now we only have 14 people on this stream. So I'm gonna wait until it gets back up to like 40 or something before like, hitting you guys over the head with it. But yeah, I would appreciate anybody who wants to subscribe. Thanks, Ben. And like the thing is like the real like sales pitch for the YouTube is I'm gonna be putting out like way better content on YouTube than I'm put out on TikTok right now. The problem with TikTok is that like so much of your content needs to be configured for the algorithm, and the algorithm is very much like, I mean, I don't hate the content. I'm just saying that, like, a lot of the times, like, I make conscious decisions to like not do more interesting stuff because I'm trying to get views on a video, right? Versus, awesome. Thanks, Shaq Flow. Versus like YouTube is much more based upon like, so the reason for this is that with TikTok, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. Each individual video only exists on its own. And so, if I want to make a video about like we're talking about this earlier, if I want to make a video about Morocco, which is a very under the radar travel location, um, uh, then like, I no one's gonna watch it, so I don't make those videos. But if I get a lot of subs on this YouTube channel, then like I can make those types of videos and give out like better content. So anyway, that's my little bit of a pitch. So Damusha asks, have I ever been to anywhere outside of Paris and France? I've been to Corsica. I went sailing around Corsica for 2 weeks. Corsica is really beautiful, but it's just the Mediterranean. So um, yeah, I want to do more exploring of France. Me and my wife will probably be living in Europe for like 2 or 3 years, so we're going to use that as an opportunity to do a lot more exploring of Europe for a while. Um, but yeah, so you asked me so you said, oh, sorry, I'm gonna catch up with this. Yeah, I mean, London's very expensive. It's also overrun with crime right now. You also have the whole grooming gangs thing, which, I, personally object to the fact that you guys allowed that to happen. I think is one of the most like, objectionable things. I don't want to go off on a tangent about it, but if you're an American, I just don't see any reason to go to yo, the Buddha Chris subscriber number 100. Let's do it. Yo, thanks, man. I appreciate it. We got to 100 subscribers. Hopefully, hopefully by next Sunday we'll get to 1,000. Who here? Put a one in the chat if you think we're gonna get to 1,000 subscribers by next Sunday. Honestly, I don't really think that we're gonna be able to do it, but let's. How'd you get so good at pulling Latinas? That's a good question. One more thing that one thing that I think that is important to remember about like pulling Latinas is that don't try to be a Latino, right? The Latinos, I got some ones in the chat here, I got some ones in the chat there. Like if you're trying to pull a Latina, don't try to be a Latino. Be an American. There are a lot of Latinas that specifically want Americans, and I don't mean like girls who want like a rich guy who'll pay for them. I mean girls who like, there's certain character traits that Latinos have, right? That Latinas do not like, or at least like a huge portion of Latinas do not like. And so if you position yourself as the guy who is not those things, then you can pull a lot of Latinas based off of that. And then just learn Spanish, right? So, for example, what are those traits? Yeah, I mean, I don't want people to get too mad at me, for like speaking in broad brushes, right? But like Latinos, typically speaking, cheat on their women a lot. They, what's it called? And again, these are the stereotypes that Latinas have for their men, is that they're promiscuous, they aren't very hard workers, and they would much rather spend time with their buddies getting drunk than they would want to spend time at home with their family, right? So they're looking for, you know, a stable guy, right? And so if you can be that guy, then they're gonna fall in love with you. Um, I'm more into Brazilians, but Portuguese is tough. Portuguese isn't that tough, man. I studied Portuguese for a while. I was studying Portuguese and Spanish at the same time. I had to make a decision to do one versus the other. I decided to like focus more on Spanish because it's very difficult to learn both at the same time. But Portuguese is pretty easy. In fact, one thing that makes Portuguese a lot easier, I think, is the fact that like you can you can speak Portuguese. Um, yeah, no, London definitely sucks. I haven't been there in a long time, but I'm probably never gonna go back to London. So, I just think London. I put London in the same category as like America, as like it's a place that people are leaving, not a place that people would go to. That's kind of the reason why. Like, I can see a justification for a London trip. Like, you go for a week, you go to a football match, see some sights, that type of stuff. But like generally speaking, it's a place that people are leaving. So that's why I don't really talk about it. Yeah, I mean, Dubai has its reputation. They're, um, my feeling about Dubai is kind of the same feeling that I have. I mean, it's very different, but it's kind of in the same vein as what I am my feeling about um uh my feeling on like um my feeling on Dubai is not is kind of the same in that like I think that like there's you know there's pros and there's cons of Dubai, and if you like the pros, then like you'll like it, and if you don't like the pros and you don't like the cons, and you very much don't like the cons, then like you'll hate it, right? So like that's just kind of how it is, right? And so it's one of those places where like you need to decide what types of places you like in your life, and there are a lot of people who love Dubai, right? I mentioned this guy's name on a video before, and my account got a strike literally just for mentioning his name. So I'm not gonna mention his name, but the red pill influencer that all the young men follow. Don't put his name in the chat, but everyone knows what I'm talking about. His last name starts with a T. Like that, if you like that guy and if you're into that, you'll love Dubai. If you're a guy who doesn't like that type of stuff and just finds it odious, then you're gonna hate Dubai. Um, Let me see. Um, every Mexican woman wants to marry a foreigner to obtain a foreign surname. I think that's cope, to be honest. I mean, there are definitely a lot of Mexican women, a lot of Latinas that want to marry foreigners for the name, for the green card, that type of stuff. But like a lot of it is just that like American men treat foreign women better than foreign men treat them, right? America and also like London, if Tyranny is still here, like they are two of the most feminist countries in the world, I would say, right? And like, yeah, we can complain about feminism, and they're all like lots of legitimate critiques about feminism that I completely agree with, right? But one of the effects of feminism is that men just treat women a lot better in feminist countries. That's just like a fact, right? Because you have to, right? And so for men, we have, I mean, people talk about like hoflation, right? This is part of this, right? Like if this whole standard that you have to hold women to in America, and then the standard that you have to hold women to in Mexico is down here. And so men from America going to Mexico are like, great, I can hold women to this standard. And then the women in Mexico are like, wow, he's holding me to this standard. And both parties are very happy. And for American men, the idea of even acting like this is so outside the realm of comprehension that the lowest that they can get is here. And the nice thing for American men is that for a lot of the Mexican women, the best that they can even conceptualize being treated is over here. So, you know, so you have the situation for American men and for Latinas where men are getting the absolute best treatment that they could possibly imagine, while at the same time, Latinos are getting the best possible treatment that they can imagine, right? And so it's like, you know, it's a win-win, right? And therefore, the same way that like I criticize American women for mistreating American men and causing American men to want to leave the country, I think there's also blame to be made on Latinos in Latin America for making the women want to date American men. And to just say it's because of money, I don't think that tells the whole story. And again, this is somebody who like, I'm married to a Latina. So like I talk to her about this a lot. I talk to her about the relationships with like men, of that her brothers have, that her sisters have with husbands and stuff. And it's not as simple as, oh, you treat me better because you have more money. That's not how it works. Yeah. So Tiernan just said um in the YouTube chat. Not only this, but you feel appreciated for treating Latinas the same as you would Westerners. My fiance is Venezuelan as well, and she could not be more grateful for what would be overlooked in the United States. That's 100% on the mark. You can give Latinas just very basic treatment, and that is way better treatment than they would ever get in Latin America. That's just the truth of it. Um, you understand the size very well. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. I appreciate it. What country is good for a boys trip, age mid-20s to have fun? Go to Koh Phi Phi, Thailand. Just don't think about it. Just book the ticket right now. Like literally, le first, what you wanna do is you wanna leave this live, you wanna click the link in my bio, you wanna subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then after you do that, go to Expedia.com and book tickets to Koh Phi Phi, Thailand. KOHPHI, Thailand. And then just don't think about it. Spend a week there, get hammered. It'll be the one of the best weeks of your life. I can attest to that. I've done it. Um, Let me see. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something about money, and I think that what happens a lot is that you have guys from America who will only look for the women who want money, and then they will conclude that Latinas only want money. And it's like, no, it's just you're only looking for girls that are only interested in you for money. If you change the way they were looking for women, you would get different women coming back to you. Um, Where else do you meet women? So I think the best place to meet women in Latin America. Sorry, I'm gonna do something very disgusting and just like scratch this. Sorry about that. I think the best place to meet women is church. To be honest, that's the best. The best women you're gonna meet are women in church, single women. There are a lot of really hot women in church in Latin America. Um, um, in ES, I'm gonna answer your question in a second. Also, like doing physical activities is a good place to meet women in general, right? What the fuck is this? Oh, okay. So if you go to like a beach volleyball game, go anything like that, that's a good place to meet girls. So we're at 10 listeners right now. Surprising, but I guess I'm just so uncharismatic that I just lost someone's attention. Um, haven't been to East Asians. Um, so Japanese women are really, really cold and really like, you know, closed off. So if you're looking for East Asians that you want to date, I'd probably go to the Philippines. That's probably where you want to go. Cambodia, if you're into that, like my phone literally overheated at one point. I was getting so many matches on Tinder there. Or Vietnam. Those are the places that you want to go in Southeast Asia. I'm in Korea right now. Um, religious family oriented women. Yeah, they're the absolute best. Like, um, my wife is like that, and she's great. Um, I've been to Korea, China, dude. I think Koreans are some of the most misrepresented women on planet Earth because everybody that I know in America has like this huge fetishization of Korean women, and then I'm in Korea, man. I don't like. I'm walking on the street and these women aren't that attractive. Like at least for me, man, they aren't that attractive. So I don't know what's up because I think they might just all. I think the attractive ones all have had plastic surgery. Like, you know, but that might just be me. All right, so here's what we're gonna do now. Um, we're going to in the next couple minutes, we're gonna move from the TikTok live to the YouTube live. The reason for that is what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a specific question or a specific city that people have questions about, and I'm going to just go in depth on that. And again, I can't share my screen on the TikTok live, so I'm gonna be able to do that on the YouTube live. So again, click on the YouTube, subscribe. I really appreciate everybody subscribing. I appreciate everyone joining, being a part of this. We're gonna get to 1,000 subscribers by Sunday. I know we are. But yeah, I'm gonna go there in a second. So if you're not interested, you should try a multicasting service. Yeah, there's a weird reason why I can't. I don't really want to go into the specifics of it, but like, yeah, I'm not able to for like really stupid technical reasons. But I would love to be honest. But any CDMX tips? CDMX right nowadays is kind of like, um, it's kind of like Bangkok. It's kind of like Medellin. Is just so filled with Westerners that you're basically just going to an American city at this point. If you want to do that, if you want to enjoy that, you can. But um, that it's just not. I wouldn't recommend it. Um, awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna give everyone a minute. I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna hop off from here, and uh, yeah, I've heard a lot of places in Mexico are like that these days. But yeah, I'm gonna hop off here in like a minute or two. I'm gonna go to the YouTube live. So please, if if you're interested, oh, actually, I'm starting to gain viewers here, so we might just stay here a little bit more. So people stay here a little bit more. If I get past 20 attendees by 2:10, I'll stay here, and if not, we're gonna go to the YouTube live. That's kind of my number. Anyway, let's see. Are there any interesting questions here? Oh wow, both people here are from London. Um, hmm. But yeah, I mean, so Awaken said that like most places are filled with Americans that we would travel to. That's one of the main reasons to learn Spanish and go to, uh, you know, to go to the places that no one else goes to. I think that those are always the most interesting places to travel to anyway. Although Mexico is really dangerous. Anywhere close to the USA you recommend? I don't know, man. Costa Rica. I'm just gonna give that answer. Cartagena. Those are kind of the two recommendations that I give that are close to the US. All right, so I'm gonna hop off here. We're gonna go to the YouTube live, and you guys who are on the YouTube live or you guys here, think of a specific place that you want some information on, and then I will do a deep dive. So thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for getting me to 100 subscribers. And now we're going to the YouTube live. Link is in my bio. Awesome. Um, cool. So do you guys have any specific questions that you want answered? Any specific countries or anything that you want to get some information on? I wanted to wait a minute or two. I haven't been to Aruba actually. A friend of mine is 55 and married an 18-year-old there. That seems to be the trend nowadays. Yeah, let's talk about Peru. Here, give me just 1 second. Uh, 20 hours ago. Awesome. So some time. Yeah, let's do Peru. Um, yeah, they're pretty loyal. All right, where is this anyway? I'm using a VPN. That's why they say I'm in Los Angeles right now. Let's see. All right, so this is the area that I would recommend staying in. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it's like a part of Lima. If it's not, then like it's like basically in Lima. This is like my favorite place in Peru. It's like kind of bougie, but not like incredibly bougie. Um, Here I'm gonna go find the place. Where did I stay? Supermarket. Wong. Wong is a supermarket in Peru because there's a huge like uh Chinese population there. Is this where I was? Yeah. So this is where I was. It was in a place called El Rosadel. If you look over here, um, so this is the area that I was in. It's just really beautiful, really safe. You know, yeah, I literally was walking by here like every day on my way to like get lunch and stuff. So this is the area that you want to stay in. So again, it's El Rosadel. It's really near the beach, which is right over here. Um, but the beach, as I said, is not actually that nice. You can't. Why do they not allow you to have any like beach photos? Okay, this should be it. Yeah, so look at this. It's rocks. So if you're looking for a beach, you do not want to go to Peru. But that being said, this area is really nice. The Wong Benavides is really cheap. And then if you're looking to go out, you have I think this is the area, Park 7th of June. This is where you want to go. And at night this entire place is like lit up. I think this is the place with the bars. No, this is the street. Look over here. There's a whole street with like bars and stuff. Um, I think that's the street. Yeah, Park John F. Kennedy. That's definitely near here. Um, but yeah, so this is where you want to go out in Miraflores. Um, let's just like look up like Airbnbs, I guess. Miraflores, Lima, Peru. Let's say you're going from like February 1st to 28th. You going homes. Um, I'm pretty sure you can get like a nice apartment here for like $700-800. 491 is always like way too little. But you can probably get here, and then you can go look at the area that I was staying in. Yeah. Oh, this is literally the apartment that I was in. Let me see if my review is here. See my reviews. Yeah, do you guys see that? Oh shit. So that's me right over here. I literally gave this review. I always try to give like really effusive reviews. So yeah, this is literally the spot. $800. I think I paid like $500 because I was like the first person to stay there. But you can find other places for 500, and that's what I recommend doing in Lima. Um, Again, if you're trying to go out, you want to go out in here, and then just Uber is gonna be very cheap, and then uh, check out restaurants and stuff. Do you guys have any specific questions, or let me know. Let me know. If not, I'm gonna hop off. Doing this for like an hour and a half so far. No questions. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone for subscribing, and we'll be doing another live soon. Peace.